Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter. And Coco Chanel is here to help. She's
she?
gotten herself her little home haircut today.
I also have a home haircut, but I have that all the time, not just right now. I cut my own hair. It's one of my many great skills. But no, really, actually, before we get too far into this Survivor Winners at War Episode 9 reaction, I have something to tell you. We've got a laundry hamper over there in the other room. There's a marking on the front of it. I think it might be an idol. Do you mind if I go over and check? I just want to make sure. It might help me.
I think you need to leave now.
Okay, let me say this. I will probably make fun of Adam a lot in this video, but I understand fully why he did what he did. I think if you know you're in danger, you might as well do it. I applaud him for the effort, and I thank him with every element of my being for the 5 minutes of just entertainment platinum he gave us tonight.
There was a lot of entertainment tonight.
Alright, well, we're going to try to dive into everything here. Before we do, though, if you guys do like this video, remember to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell, because we're going to have a preview for what is coming up on episode 10 fairly soon. This is an interesting episode, because I feel like Adam's boot, it was pretty easy to telegraph it, but was this one of those episodes where just the sheer insanity of what you saw almost makes up for the rather predictability of the end result?
Yeah, it was so crazy. The thing that was just giving me life was Ethan's smile. Like, as this was all going on, he just had this huge grin and chuckle going on. I was just like, man, I feel you, Ethan. I'm over here doing the same thing. This is so ridiculous.
I don't know what my favorite, peanut gallery reaction was to all of this.
All
it was
Ethan for me, man. He really gave me life with that.
It was either that or Boston Rob basically saying they needed to bring in therapy to Extinction after what was going to be happening at any given moment here. It was... Okay, let's rewind a little bit, because the whole first part of this video, mind you, is going to be devoted almost entirely to there is an idol on Jeff's podium that came out of nowhere tonight.
Okay, in some ways, I understand that idea. There have been lots of twists that have come into the game that people didn't really kind of understand or know about. There's fire tokens this season. We haven't seen that going on before. So I can see that he would be thinking sort of forward and being like, okay, hey, they've never done this before. Could this be a thing? The thing that threw me off with it was at the very end, after he was voted off, that he was saying that he was acting this way and he was putting too much into what he was doing in his strategy and being vocal because he was certain that it was an idol and not just a last-ditch effort, which is at first what I thought was really happening.
Adam, sometimes the Survivor art department just wants things to look nice. At times, a fleur-de-lis is actually just a fleur-de-lis, as it turns out. There is so much of this I love. I applaud him for thinking outside the box. He saw a fleur-de-lis as a part of the symbology for the season. It makes sense to think, okay, maybe this could be an idol that is at Tribal Council.
Wouldn't you have just died if Jeff was like, and this is valid? There was just a second there that I was waiting for Jeff to be like, and idol, and then I watch everybody's face just be like,
it would have been great.
I'm just kidding. It's nothing. Take a seat, Adam.
I would have loved every single second of that. I still loved every single... The thing I loved the most was Probst. After Adam goes up there and he is dead set on this as his last-ditch attempt, he goes in, he starts shaking it, and it's not moving. At that point, we all know it's not an idol at this point, because they're not going to have the entire podium. He can grab that and pull the entire podium over to himself. This is not a Melissa McCarthy SNL sketch. That does not work. But ultimately, Probst then... he's just so smug about it. This is like one of Probst's biggest tool moments of the season, being like, so Adam, do you want to still play the idol? It's not an idol anymore, Jeff. Why you gotta do this to this man?
Because it's good entertainment for all of us.
Because, and poor Adam here, it's just he knows that his head is probably about to be chopped off in the game, and he's just
There's some desperation. What are you gonna do? Sure, I'll play it, Jeff.
Yeah.
Play the podium. Is this anything?
Play the idol, Jeff. Come on, let that be an idol. Is there another idol here, Jeff, that I can play? I do. What if there actually is an idol that's hidden at Tribal Council in Season 41? Can we officially call that the Adam Klein Memorial Idol from here on out?
I was wondering if, maybe they hadn't thought about doing something like that before, and now they're like, this is could be something. To watch people scrambling around. I mean, it was crazy tonight. Throw an idol in there in plain sight somewhere, and what's this going to turn into?
I actually do really like the idea. I don't think it's something you can do multiple times, but I think it's just like a one-off. You hide it once at Tribal Council and then just wait to see it. Because I would have also really loved if that actually was an idol, and Probst at the final Tribal Council or whenever idols expire, he just looks at everyone else smug like he did Adam tonight, and he was like, oh, by the way, guys, there was an idol right in front of you the whole time. And I'm like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, no, I that would have been good, too.
Yeah.
But no, I'll say this about Adam. He hasn't been my favorite player. It was entertaining to watch tonight, but it was really cool to see him kind of think outside the box with that.
I appreciated that. I appreciate how hard Adam plays and also how much Adam respects the game. He wasn't bitter after the fact. He was like, I made too many mistakes. He took ownership for his own mistakes, which were many over the course of this season. I still like Adam. I think Adam he's a player who's good. He's great in confessionals. Mm-hmm. And can I bring you the number 2 entertainment moment of the night? Number 1 was Adam and the podium, obviously. And if that had not happened, I would have had to stage some other sort of bit at the start of this video where me and you become Adam and Ben and just start shouting at each other while everyone else is trying to have a tribal council.
That was crazy. And the kind of sucky thing, even though it felt like Adam was going anyways, this seemed to allow for everybody else to really start getting up and being like, okay, let's group over here. What are we doing? Yeah, we can make even more moves because nobody's paying attention to us right now because Adam's too focused on Ben.
It was great. The funniest thing I love about all of this, basically you sort of have Adam being like, Ben, how dare you? You're the worst. You're plotting against me. Like, Adam is sitting here being like, you're paranoid. Meanwhile, Adam is by far the most paranoid person at the tribal.
There was so much paranoia going on because, I mean, even Nick, by the time he was kind of like, you know what, whatever happens, happens. I was just like, I don't feel like you believe that. I feel that you are also paranoid. Like, just everybody kind of at camp, even before they went there, all felt very, just stirred up and running around and, everybody's throwing out everybody's names, even if they don't really mean it. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, Tony, I heard your name thrown out. By who? kind of thing. It's just like, okay, well, nobody's really even talking about you.
Yeah, I love the edit tonight because really the moment, to me at least, the moment Nick said, oh, I feel like I'm better now, I still thought there was a chance he was going to be blindsided, but then at that point, with the way that they had set up this silly podium nonsense for most of the episode, I was thinking, okay, this has all just been done so we can sit here and have a laugh at Adam for 2 minutes.
They've set up that podium thing since the beginning of this episode. Once I saw that where he went back to camp, he was kind of like, hey, listen, did you notice this on the podium? I'm like, this better play out tonight, man, because this is going to be entertainment gold. And if it doesn't, missed opportunity. Adam, you need to go up there and try to use the podium to save your life.
Okay, well, now that we've talked for a good 9 minutes about the podium, which, by the way, may be the best 9 minutes we have ever spent on this YouTube channel together, I think we need to now talk about whether or not getting rid of Adam was actually the right move.
For me, I kind of think yes. I mean, I know it wasn't only Adam, and I'm not blaming Adam for this solely, but there was so much chaos going on before they even went to Tribal Council. And Adam does have a lot of paranoia that's just kind of circling around him. I think just for the idea of a little bit of calmness and group morale, not that he's bringing down the morale, just that paranoia. This is already a paranoid game. You think everybody's out to get you all the time because everybody is. That then when you've got somebody like Adam and that energy, it makes it a lot harder. So just for that alone, sort of, I'm still part of the Yule School of good morale at camp, makes it better for everybody. That was a good idea.
I think for a lot of the information that people had, Adam was probably the right move. But I will also say there's a weird thing that happened in this episode. And from the outside looking in, like, I'm here being like, why did you not get rid of Nick? Because I'm sort of thinking Nick is schemy, Nick is a very good liar.
Yeah, he was straight up lying tonight. I mean, yeah, he played really smart, started throwing out people's names. Here we are in complete chaos.
And I think Kim actually pointed out that Nick is a little bit of an immunity threat, and which is fun. Like, thank goodness someone is actually paying attention now to the end of David versus Goliath, where we were there in person at the finale watching Nick win, like, challenge after challenge.
Yep.
And, I mean, he's really good at this stuff, but here's what I found so curious, and this may be an editing thing, but I remember there was a conversation between Nick and Tyson where Nick sort of threw out Sarah's name.
Yep.
And then Tyson, later on, he pinned it on Adam. He didn't pin it on Nick. And we remember Tyson, he gave Nick his fire token after he was voted off.
Yeah.
Is there a weird secret Tyson-Nick alliance going on here at this point?
There might be. I mean, there is so much of this show that doesn't make the cut. And especially with an episode like tonight, I mean, there was a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes that was going on just about this chaos. So they may not have been able to really show a lot of it.
There have to be some pretty significant gaps with everything that we just sort of did not see. Because there was also that little moment where I think it was Ben who went up to Tony at one point and was sort of accusing Tony of something. And it's like, we didn't see Tony do anything.
No, like, that's why I was saying everybody's name is sort of getting thrown out. And then it's kind of like, okay, I didn't actually see anybody throwing out so-and-so's name, but now somebody is saying this. Like, everybody was just pure paranoia. People are lying. It was good Survivor.
Let's talk about our friend Ben here, because as much as we have had fun at Ben's expense for being the one who goes completely berserk, I actually think Ben handled the Adam scene before Tribal Council reasonably well. Like, he didn't go and blow up anywhere else. I know Adam thought he was being kind of condescending with them, but Adam was also kind of like freaking out to Ben, and Ben wanted information about.
Yeah, I think that Ben kind of, in a few ways, kind of handled this poorly. I think he could have handled it a little bit better, because I think what happened between the two of them just ended up blowing up at Tribal Council, and I don't think that would have happened. It made Adam way more paranoid. I mean, he should have been paranoid anyways. Obviously, he went home. But Ben doesn't need him to be paranoid, and he certainly doesn't need to blow up at Tribal Council and kind of start putting like focus on Ben, because that was kind of happening. So instead of Ben being like, well, fine, you're not going to tell me anything? Well, that tells me everything. He could have just been like, all right, man, if you don't want to talk about it, I'm not going to pressure you. No problem. Don't worry about it. And then we'll just cut you later. And then that fight would have not ended up happening.
You're probably right. There is this, like, 2% of... This is the same madness that Adam used, by the way, to grab that idol. That wasn't an idol. That's the same place I'm speaking from, where I'm kind of like, was Ben almost so crazy in some of this that it's actually like, oh, look, Ben's having to do all this, so we don't have to. Let's just keep Ben, because if people want to get mad at someone, they can get mad at Ben. Is Ben stumbling into good Survivor fortune again?
It's possible. I mean, it is kind of strange that people are not taking him that seriously. We have seen him stumble into a couple things where he's kind of shot himself in the foot, but he managed to kind of right the ship with that for, the past few episodes. So I I don't think he's purposely trying to play that kind of game where it's like a Tony who's like, oh, look at my ladder, look at my shark, I'm running down the beach. I mean, he's really trying to take any heat off of himself, being like, hey, I'm fun guy Tony doing all this crazy stuff. I don't think Ben is doing that.
No, I think Ben, he's trying. I think Ben is trying, but let's get to Tony for a minute here, because I have went 15 minutes without discussing, my guy Tony.
There's not a video here at the channel without talking about Tony.
I love Tony. I love the way that he thought about things in this episode. I think he kind of posed questions. He's playing this very cerebral Tony this season. He doesn't have any advantages still. He still doesn't have any idols.
Yeah.
Who would have thought we would be at the final 10 of Survivor? Here is Tony, hasn't found anything, hasn't really been a target other than those couple of times where he almost could have gone before the merge. He's actually, I don't want to jinx him, because the moment I say Tony is okay and he's going to be safe for a while, it's all going downhill, but it's kind of how I feel.
I think he's playing a really smart game, and the thing that I think he's done that is really smart is that everybody knows how he's played in the past. Everybody knows how everybody's played in the past. Everybody's watched everybody else's seasons, presumably.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Tony's legacy of how he likes to play. He likes to have his idols. He likes to have his spy shack. Everybody knows it. Him going into this game and playing it completely differently was the best strategy that any of them could really use, because then it just throws everybody off. They do start to trust into what he's selling them. I mean, he still isn't looking for idols. I mean, yeah, we had the one, he did slip back into his spy shack.
He had a brief lapse.
Yeah, but nobody noticed. So, I mean, he can let that one go, right? So it's such an important gameplay when you're coming back as a returnee, you're a winner, you're with a bunch of other winners, you know what everybody's games are, to switch it up to a point that people are like, okay, so maybe Tony's obviously playing very different this time around, so maybe I can trust him this time around.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Tony. If you are watching, I am proud of you. I still think Sophie is playing probably the best overall game.
Nobody's talking about her. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
they should be.
They should be really worried. Like, she is amazing in all of these puzzles. Like, she is like the puzzle queen. There are a lot of puzzles on Survivor. She has allies around her. She has an idol. I'm so terrified of Sophie. If I was out there, I would be afraid of her. I'm still super afraid of Michelle, especially now that she's got, because this is what we needed. We needed another silly named advantage, and now we have the 50-50 idol. And you remember how Two-Face and Batman has like the coin, and he flips it, and like one side. I really want to call this the Two-Face advantage. But
all right, well, we can do that.
Well,
we're all Batman fans here, so.
I'm Batman. Use the advantage. Okay, we're 18 minutes in. I can do the terrible Batman impression. What do you think about this advantage in theory?
I wouldn't have given up 4 tokens for it. I know that that's probably going to be a controversial thing to say, but we're 18 minutes in, so who knows who's even watching anymore. I feel, for me, that for 4 tokens to only have a 50-50 shot at something, for 4 tokens, you need to give me immunity. You need to give me something else that I can actually really depend on. Like, this is just a legit flip of the coin. For 4 tokens, that is expensive.
It is. This is a really interesting debate, because...
And there's still a lot of people left in the game, and there is still a lot of time in the game, and no one's really looking at Michelle right now. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have gone for this advantage. There's other advantages that have been offered that I'd be like, yeah, sure, take all my tokens.
I think I would have...
I don't know.
I think I would have taken it, but I think I may have regretted it after the fact. I think... This is the issue with it, is... What if there are a lot of other advantages that are played over the next couple of episodes, things start to open up, somebody gets a better advantage down the road, and because if it becomes common knowledge, you have a lot of tokens on Extinction, they may have offered you that. It is a big what if, there's no guarantee of it, but I would have taken it just because I don't know if something else is coming, but I see fully what you were saying because I think it could be a mistake.
No, I get it, and I don't expect a lot of people to agree with me on it. It's just, when I've seen what else is out there, and I know that there is still quite a lot of time in this game, 4 tokens is a lot of currency to give up for something that's a complete luck advantage. Like, it's not to me, it doesn't feel like it's much of an advantage if it's completely based on luck. So too rich for my blood. I would wait it out.
We need like a 75-25 advantage or something.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit more than just, good luck.
I think it's got to be like that time in Batman Forever where Two-Face keeps flipping the coin and he doesn't get what he wants, so he keeps flipping it until he does.
That's right.
But no, okay, so Parvati's rolling this.
Peanut butter, it's back in play.
It's funny. Everyone's like, oh, Parvati's so devious. Like, she's such a villain. Parvati was really nice. Like, she could have just hoarded all those tokens. Instead, she's just sort of like, everybody gets to eat, except, she's just trying to be generous.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting idea to share it with everybody. I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, I don't know how many people really knew that Tyson was eating all this peanut butter. I'm sure they probably figured it out. Peanut butter's not that easy to hide the scent of, so I assume he's probably walking around smelling like peanut butter, and then he won. So at that point, then we've got Parv being like, man, I could go for some peanut butter. So I feel like people knew, and then he came back into the game. And again, peanut butter, it's such a great source of protein. I mean, it is an advantage. I will give you 4 fire tokens for peanut butter out there. That's an advantage.
I have this image in my head now of Rob walking up to Tyson just being like, hey, why do you smell like peanut butter? Like, I don't know if that's... Yeah, now I've done 2 terrible impressions in 3 minutes. You're welcome. Okay, no more impressions the remainder of this video, I promise.
That's a promise you cannot keep, sir.
It depends on where we go from here, but we have not talked about the reward challenge. Mm-hmm. Let's set the stage here. So we have 2 teams, and I actually tried to write these down because no way I would be remembering them at this point. You had Tyson, Adam, Tony, Nick, Jeremy, which, really physical group. You would automatically assume, oh, they're going to steamroll this, but no, instead they lose to Kim, Ben, Sarah, Michelle, and puzzle queen of all time, Sophie. After this happens, Sarah is like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to give my reward to Nick because it's his birthday.
Yeah, and what was the most interesting thing about it is her saying, I actually just gave it to him because I had this sort of human moment that was just like, hey man, it's his birthday and I want to do something nice for somebody. And then nobody believes her, so it doesn't even matter what she's doing this for.
Yeah, this is another rule that I've learned. People don't expect you to be selfless in Survivor all that often, so if you are selfless, everybody automatically just is sort of like...
It's a game move.
What is Sarah up to? What is she trying to pull here? And
There's too much paranoia going on in this game. And this particular game is $2 million, so I mean, yeah, of course everybody's going to be like, I see what you're doing.
And we had like the Sarah and Tony Cops R Us Trust Summit after the fact where Tony is just sort of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This was our first real Cops R Us interaction.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I've missed it. More Cops R Us. All the Cops R Us all the time.
You just want Tony all the time.
I do. I love that Tony is doing really well, but it is hard on me not watching him screw around with ladders or yelling at anyone in llama. Like, I do miss llama Tony.
I feel like there will be more of it.
I hope there is more of it, but... Ultimately, what Sarah does here, it does seem to make her a little bit more of a target.
Yep.
If you were playing in the game and somebody did this, would you want to get rid of them? I would be worried about them. I will at least say that.
I think it would just depend on who the person is and what my relationship with them is. And the issue is kind of that Sarah has a few relationships, like other people that are around, like, I get Tony saying, like, why'd you do that? But I don't think Tony's worried about her turning on him right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's really... It's just situational. It's what is my relationship with Sarah. If I'm somebody who's like a Denise, I'd be like, yeah, I think this is a game move, and now I got to watch out for her. If I'm a Tony, then I'm like, bad move because you put a target on yourself, but I'm not worried.
Yeah. So there's a couple other things that, before we wrap up, that I'm kind of thinking about in my head here. Number one, Denise. How is Denise not being targeted at this point?
I don't
really?
know. This chaos and everything that happened tonight completely benefited her.
Yeah. I predicted Denise would be voted off unless she had immunity or something.
I thought so too.
She was vulnerable. You had all the chance in the world. It seems like that sort of big group is counting her as one of their numbers, so she might be okay right now.
Yeah.
This is probably my third favorite, funniest moment of the night. I know there was a big gap between my number 1 and 2 and where we are here, but at the immunity challenge, the sound Jeremy makes when he falls off this thing, it sounds like he is a character being killed in a horror movie. I wish I could replicate it. It was like a Howard Dean screech that he had.
In between him and Ben doing like karate up there, this challenge was dope. I loved it.
It was, yeah, I don't know what Ben was doing. It looked kind of like a karate, it looked kind of like the Tai Chi coach used to do back on the beach. But hey, Ben almost won. I mean, maybe Ben should do that in all of the challenges.
This is terrible, but I love challenges where people are falling. I don't know what it is about it, but I mean, even like when we watch Big Brother, I love the slip and slide. I love challenges where people are falling over.
Well, we have learned in the video tonight. For
the 4 of you that are still watching at the end of the video.
We are people of simple taste. We love people falling. We love people trying to grab podiums when they can't actually pull anything off. This was an episode of pure clownery. It was also, there's still a lot of interesting strategic stuff.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, we'll be back. We'll check out some secret scenes, all that. We'll do another video then. Mm-hmm. But of course, check out the preview tonight. Let us know what you thought about Survivor Winners at War, Episode 9 in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe. And you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.